The deeply uncomfortable, almost panicky sensation of waking up in the middle of the night with a mouth so incredibly dry that the tongue feels practically glued to the roof of the mouth, accompanied by a throat that feels like rough sandpaper and a desperate, immediate urge to drink an entire glass of cold water, is a frustratingly common and highly disruptive experience that millions of older adults are forced to endure every single night, completely destroying any chance of achieving the deep, restorative sleep the body desperately needs to heal. For years, the standard, overly simplistic advice handed down by well-meaning friends, magazines, and even some medical professionals has been to simply drink more water right before bed, or worse, to accept this agonizing midnight thirst as just another entirely normal, unavoidable part of the natural aging process. However, the absolute truth, which the modern medical establishment rarely takes the time to properly explain, is that waking up with a chronically dry mouth is never just a harmless inconvenience, nor is it a simple sign that the body forgot to drink an extra glass of water during the afternoon. Rather, it is a glaring, flashing biological warning sign, a desperate cellular alarm that the body is quietly sounding to indicate a much deeper, invisible metabolic imbalance occurring deep inside the vital organs. To truly understand why the mouth feels like a barren desert every morning, one must look far beyond the salivary glands and realize that the human body is a masterful, deeply interconnected machine that never does anything by accident. And when the moisture is suddenly stripped from the mouth while sleeping, it is almost always a queer, undeniable signal that the body is trapped in a silent state of severe cellular dehydration and hidden chemical stress. One of the most common, yet rarely discussed, culprits behind this midnight drought is a profound misunderstanding of how human hydration actually works on a microscopic level. Because the mainstream health industry has convinced the world that hydration is simply about the sheer volume of plain water swallowed throughout the day. Millions of older adults dutifully carry around large plastic bottles, constantly sipping plain, filtered, completely mineral-depleted water from morning until night, believing they are doing their bodies a tremendous favor, only to find themselves running to the bathroom multiple times a night while still waking up with a mouth as dry as dust. This deeply frustrating cycle occurs because pouring large amounts of plain, empty water into an aging body without the exact presence of vital, deeply ancient trace minerals is exactly like pouring pure water onto a completely dried out, hardened kitchen sponge. The water simply runs right off the surface, passing straight through the kidneys and into the bladder without ever actually penetrating the deeply dehydrated cells that are crying out for moisture. As the body ages, it naturally loses its ability to hold on to water inside the cells without the delicate, precise balance of natural electrolytes, specifically essential trace minerals like magnesium, potassium, and unprocessed sodium, which act as the biological keys that actually open the cellular doors and allow the water to enter and deeply hydrate the tissues. When an individual goes to sleep with cells that are practically starving for these ancient minerals. The body enters a mild state of panic during the night, aggressively pulling whatever little moisture it can find from the non-essential tissues, such as the salivary glands in the mouth, to protect the brain, the heart, and the internal organs, completely shutting down saliva production and leaving the mouth feeling like cracked earth by the time the sun comes up. But cellular mineral depletion is only the first layer of this biological mystery, because an even more insidious, dangerous culprit behind chronic dry mouth is the completely invisible, creeping epidemic of hidden blood sugar instability and insulin resistance that silently plagues millions of people over the age of 60. Even those who have never been officially diagnosed with diabetes. When the modern diet, which is absolutely loaded with hidden sugars, refined carbohydrates, and heavily processed grains, causes the blood sugar levels to remain unnaturally high or wildly fluctuate during the night, the body recognizes this excess sugar in the bloodstream as a severe toxin that must be eliminated immediately to prevent damage to the delicate blood vessels and the brain. In a desperate protective effort to flush this toxic excess sugar out of the system, the kidneys are forced to work absolute overtime while the body is supposed to be resting, pulling massive amounts of water from the entire system, including the mouth and throat, to dilute the sugar and force it out through the bladder, creating an overwhelming, insatiable thirst and an intensely dry mouth that no amount of midnight water can ever truly satisfy. This invisible nocturnal battle against elevated blood sugar completely drains the body of its precious moisture reserves, transforming the mouth into an incredibly harsh, dry environment that severely damages the delicate enamel of the teeth, encourages the rapid growth of harmful, bad breath-causing bacteria, and completely halts the crucial first step of the digestive process, which relies heavily on the powerful enzymes found only in abundant, healthy saliva. To make matters even more complicated for the aging body, this severe dehydration is exponentially worsened by the massive, overwhelming pharmaceutical trap that so many older adults find themselves caught in, as millions are routinely prescribed multiple daily medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, and nerve pain, almost all of which list severe dry mouth and deep cellular dehydration as their primary, most debilitating side effect. These synthetic chemical medications forcefully alter the body's natural fluid balance, artificially pushing water out of the system or chemically blocking the specific nerve signals that tell the salivary glands to produce moisture, leaving the individual feeling completely parched, deeply frustrated, and totally dependent on artificial mouth sprays or lozenges that offer absolutely nothing more than 10 minutes of superficial relief, while completely ignoring the roaring fire of dehydration burning inside the cells. Fortunately, the human body is an incredibly resilient, miraculously forgiving system that deeply wants to return to a state of perfect, flowing balance, and rescuing the body from this chronic midnight drought does not require drinking agonizing gallons of plain water right before bed. nor does it require waking up exhausted every single hour to visit the bathroom. The true, lasting, and profoundly healing solution lies entirely in working with the beautiful wisdom of nature, shifting the daily focus away from the sheer empty volume of water consumed and moving entirely toward the profound, life-changing quality of true cellular hydration and gentle blood sugar stabilization. The absolute first, most powerful step to transforming the health of the entire body and ensuring the mouth remains comfortably moist and protected all night long is to immediately stop drinking completely empty, heavily filtered water and begin reintroducing the magnificent, ancient trace minerals that human biology absolutely requires to survive. This profound shift can be achieved through a deeply simple morning ritual of adding just a tiny, almost invisible pinch of authentic, unrefined Celtic sea salt or pure pink Himalayan salt to the very first glass of warm water consumed upon waking, providing the body with an incredible natural matrix of over 80 vital trace minerals that act exactly like tiny biological magnets, drawing the water deeply into the starved cells, the aching joints, and the exhausted organs, rather than simply letting it flush straight through to the kidneys. By giving the body these ancient minerals first thing in the morning, the entire system becomes deeply, thoroughly saturated and hydrated on a microscopic level, creating a powerful reservoir of moisture that the body can slowly, comfortably draw upon throughout the entire night, eliminating the panicked midnight need to steal water from the salivary glands. To completely silence the second major cause of dry mouth, the silent, invisible spikes in blood sugar, the evening routine must be gently adjusted to ensure that the body enters the sleep cycle in a state of absolute, peaceful metabolic calm, which means fiercely protecting the last few hours of the day from the highly processed, sugary snacks and the heavy, carbohydrate-loaded late dinners that force the kidneys to work overtime all night long. Instead, adopting a deeply soothing, traditional evening practice of enjoying a small, warm cup of a calming herbal infusion, such as pure chamomile, peppermint, or incredibly soothing ginger tea, roughly 1 hour before stepping into bed, provides the digestive system with the gentle, natural compounds it needs to stabilize the blood sugar, calm the overactive nervous system, and signal to the entire body that the work of the day is officially done and it is finally safe to rest, repair, and recover. When these two incredibly simple, ancient, and completely natural biological adjustments are made, when the empty water is replaced with mineral-rich cellular hydration, and the blood sugar is gently stabilized before sleep, the transformation that occurs within the body over the course of just a few short weeks is absolutely breathtaking and deeply emotional for those who have suffered for years. The frantic, deeply uncomfortable sensation of waking up at 3 in the morning with a throat completely stripped of moisture becomes a distant, fading memory. The disruptive, exhausting midnight trips to the bathroom miraculously begin to stop, and the body finally, beautifully, sinks into the deep, uninterrupted, deeply restorative sleep cycles that actually heal the brain and repair the damaged cells. Waking up in the morning becomes an entirely new, joyful experience, greeting the day with a mouth that feels naturally refreshed, a throat that feels comfortably soothed, and an incredible, vibrant sense of steady, lasting energy that simply cannot be achieved when the body is secretly fighting a war against dehydration all night long. This incredible lasting relief is the ultimate proof that the aging body is never truly broken. It is never simply wearing out, and it is never destined to suffer through the night. It is only desperately asking to be listened to, waiting patiently for the simple, natural, and incredibly powerful elements that it needs to function exactly as beautifully as it was designed to. Reclaiming deep, peaceful sleep and total bodily hydration is entirely within reach, requiring no expensive chemical treatments, no frustrating midnight awakenings, and no complicated medical procedures. Just a quiet, profound return to the timeless, ancient wisdom of giving the miraculous human machine exactly what it has been quietly begging for all along. If uncovering these deeply hidden, vital biological truths and learning how to naturally, gently, and powerfully heal the body from the inside out brings a wonderful sense of hope, immense relief, and true empowerment to the beautiful journey of aging gracefully, making the choice to subscribe to this channel will ensure that these life-saving secrets, honest health conversations, and powerful natural remedies continue to light the way toward a significantly healthier, deeply rested, and far more vibrant life. The absolute power to completely transform the health of the entire system, to silence the biological alarms, and to deeply nourish the body on a cellular level does not belong to the pharmaceutical industry, nor does it require living in fear of the natural aging process. It belongs entirely to the quiet, simple choices made in the kitchen, to the profound understanding of how the body truly works, and to the beautiful, absolute certainty that true, lasting health is always waiting to be gently, lovingly reclaimed every single day.